Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. As you know, we have just come back from Disneyland Paris. We had an amazing time, didn't we?
Yeah, it was so much fun.
If you have been watching our vlogs on that trip, thank you so much, and thank you for your lovely comments and everything. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, and if you've been following along on Instagram as well, thanks for that. We're trying to do some Instagram stories, which was a lot of fun, so hopefully we'll be doing some more of that in the future as well. And also we put a couple of photographs on there so you can check back, but also we are going to keep putting more pictures on from the trip. So if you're not already following on Instagram, maybe go over there and follow, and then you can see more Disneyland Paris photos.
Yeah, so basically what we wanted to do today was to share with you some of the tips and tricks that we've learned through going to Disneyland Paris, not only on our last trip, but our couple of previous trips as well. There's just some things, there's quite a lot that goes into Disneyland Paris that's not, some of it's not self-explanatory, and we found that we had to do quite a lot of research before going to really get the most out of it. So we thought we'd do a little tips video just to share a few things that might come in handy for you if it's your first trip, or maybe it's not your first trip and it's just a few things that you haven't really come across or dealt with before that we might share a little bit of our wisdom that might come in handy for your future trips. So we stayed in a Disneyland hotel. We didn't stay in the Disneyland hotel, which would be amazing, but we stayed in Disney's Hotel Cheyenne, which is one of the sort of cheaper offerings out of all the Disney hotels. We have stayed in the Cheyenne before, and we've also stayed in the Santa Fe, which is another of the more value resorts, and the Sequoia Lodge as well. We find that staying on site is really beneficial to us. Like, we have never stayed off site. We always book a Disney hotel, don't we? It doesn't have to be the most expensive one. Obviously Disneyland Hotel is the dream, but the value ones, we've never stayed at Davy Crockett Ranch, which just because it's a little bit further away and we don't usually take a car or anything, but we find that those value resorts like the Santa Fe and the Cheyenne are really nice already. So we don't feel like we have to spend loads of money, but we do find that spending that little bit of extra to stay on site is really worth it. Basically, we've got a few reasons for that, haven't we? The extra magic time in the morning. So if you've been to Disney World, you'll know about extra magic hour or hours over there. Disneyland Paris has extra magic time, or some people say extra magic hour. It is really only the 1 hour, isn't it? But basically you have that extra bit of time in the morning right before it's open to the general guests that aren't staying on site, and it is so much quieter. We had a lot of comments on our vlog saying like people couldn't believe how quiet it was, and it's because we did film in the mornings. Like, we showed everyone when we were arriving at the parks, and there was nobody there. Like, it was really quiet. I think if we weren't staying on site and we were just arriving for sort of a general opening time, then we would have found a lot higher crowd levels.
Yeah, definitely. If you want those photographs where Main Street's like not crowded and you can get some good views of the castle, that's what you know, that's the best time. I think if you're coming at general opening hours, you are going to get lots of other people in those photographs, so it's probably the one time, or like really late at night just before it closes, where you're going to get those really nice photographs. So yeah, I think definitely that's one perk of extra magic time already.
Yes. And obviously with the lower crowd levels comes the shorter queues and the lower wait times. So the entire park isn't all open for extra magic time, which is one thing we should say. And it does seem to vary, like what's open and what's not open. Like, we haven't really found anything like a consistent way of knowing. We did find out that there is sort of a leaflet that you can pick up from guest services, and they will have a list for the dates that you're staying of which areas and which rides and attractions are open during extra magic time, which is really handy, because if you go in thinking that, you know, I'm gonna ride Big Thunder Mountain first, and then Big Thunder Mountain isn't open in extra magic time, then that's sort of a few more minutes that you've wasted by not rope dropping for one of the other areas. So yeah, definitely a tip. Check out what's available in extra magic time, and prioritise what you want to do in that time as well. Really, we tend to use our extra magic time for different reasons, don't we?
Yeah, reason number one, which is probably the same as a lot of people, especially if you've got younger children or if you just love the princesses like we do, is to get yourself to the Princess Pavilion. I do call it the Princess Dash.
Princess Dash.
And it's the Princess Dash because you have to literally be there at rope drop and then dash towards the Princess Pavilion.
Yeah. No running though.
No running, just a very
brisk walk is what they say.
Yeah. And you'll find lots of other people doing that as well. Now, if you have seen our vlogs, one of the days we were there in plenty of time for rope drop, so we stood with everybody else at, you know, there wasn't an actual rope this time. We've been where there's been an actual rope. I think they trusted people on this day, and we were kind of right at the front to do the dash, and we got to see I think it was Snow White that day, and we got in around about 45 minutes, didn't we? And that was literally doing the dash with everybody else at 8:30. Now, on another day, we did use our extra magic time to go to the Princess Pavilion, this time to see Ariel, but we didn't actually make it there. I think we were like 5 minutes
we must have been
that.
5 minutes after sort of everyone did the dash.
Yeah.
So we were right behind that first sort of like cohort of people,
yeah.
And we were in that queue a long time.
Yeah, it was an hour and 15 minutes that we waited to see Ariel that day, so it is worth waiting for them to give you the okay to start the dash. So being there definitely before the 8:30 time, which it was when we were there, and yeah, because even if you're 5 minutes after that, you're in for a lot longer wait, but then you'd be in for an even longer wait the rest of the day too. So a good use of extra magic time. It might be all you do within that extra magic time, but I think if you're prepared for that and you're happy that that's how you're going to spend it, then I found that okay. Did you?
Yeah. And if you are thinking you just want to ride some rides in extra magic time, we would recommend going to Discoveryland.
Yeah.
Really, ideally. When we went to Discoveryland first for extra magic time, we found there was nobody else there.
No.
I think a lot of people go to that Princess Pavilion. A lot of people go to Peter Pan's Flight, which is another really good use of your extra magic time as well, because that is such a popular ride.
Yeah, and in all of Fantasyland really, because unfortunately Dumbo wasn't on. It was closed for refurbishment when we were there, but I know that ride gets really busy, so if that one's open as well. I saw lots of people on the carousel. We did the carousel in extra magic time, so it is a good area that gets busier throughout the day, so it is a good spot for extra magic time. But if you want to walk straight onto Space Mountain and maybe ride it twice, 3 times, 4 times. Buzz Lightyear. Again, those queues get pretty big throughout the day, but you could just walk straight onto it.
Yeah, so Discoveryland if you just want to do walk-ons and not have any wait at all. Fantasyland really if you want a shorter wait than you'll be waiting for the rest of the day, including the Princess Pavilion really. So yeah, extra magic time really is valuable in Disneyland Paris, just because obviously there's only 2 parks, it gets crowded, and the fast passes aren't as extensive as if you go to Walt Disney World. You might be thinking, well, I went to Disney World and we didn't do extra magic hours every morning. We recommend you definitely use it for Disneyland Paris.
Yeah.
Also, for staying, another perk to staying in a Disney hotel is the location.
Yeah.
Obviously all of the Disneyland hotels are within walking distance, so it's pretty much just a short walk through the Disney Village. Obviously the more value hotels are a little bit further away and the most expensive hotels are closer, but we found, I think, what was the walk, 10-15 minutes?
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't long.
Even for the value resorts, it's a really short walk, and it's a nice walk as well.
Yeah,
like along the river, and then through the village, so it's really lovely to just, you know, walk it or get on the free shuttle. So there's a free shuttle bus. It takes less than 5 minutes.
Yeah,
like it's practically round the corner, isn't it? So
when we were there as well, they have like a double one as well, so it can fit a lot of people on. I know that some of the kind of local off-site hotels do offer a shuttle, which is a really great service as well. But yeah, the ones that we got on it from the Cheyenne was like a really big one. So it can fit a lot of people on there. And they just keep coming to and from, and so it's really quick, really easy, and really not much wait for that.
Yeah, so that is another really good perk to staying on site with Disney. Probably a perk that not many people know about, unless you have done your research into getting annual passes for Disneyland Paris, is that if you have an annual pass that is on blackout dates or blockout dates or whatever your version of that is called, then if you stay in a Disney hotel, there's basically it overrides it.
Yeah.
So I have the Infinity Pass, and you have the Discovery Pass, which obviously is the cheapest one, and there are no perks really involved with that one, and there's a lot of blackout dates.
Like over half the year it is actually on blackout dates, so it's really useful if, like, for my pass, especially if you're getting anything other than the Infinity, because the Infinity is basically the one where the everyday is available.
There's no blackout dates on the Infinity. I think there's slightly, like, there's a few on the, like, a couple of the other ones, but Discovery, it tends to be like weekends and school holidays and things like that. So we definitely needed, if we were using that pass sort of over a weekend, which it happened to be this time, we definitely needed those blackout dates to be overridden. So that is exactly what happened. We did actually show you in one of the vlogs how they go about doing that. So if you want to see how that works when you get to the turnstiles and things, if you check out our Disneyland Paris vlog, I think it's one of our later ones, then you will see how it all works. They basically the cast members have to sort out at the turnstile. We didn't encounter any problems with this. We found out about this through the annual pass group on Facebook, and like everyone else, we really questioned it. Like, we were like seriously, like, if you stay in a Disney hotel, then you can still get in on blackout dates. And we even emailed Disney, well, we messaged them through Facebook to get, like, written confirmation that we could definitely do that. And yeah, we didn't have any problems. We just showed the Magic Pass and the annual pass to the cast member, and they just sorted it out straight away. So it wasn't like we got to the front and they were like, you can't come in. So yeah, amazing perk. So if you've got one of the cheaper annual passes and you still want to use it on blackout dates, definitely stay in a Disney hotel.
Now, we really do recommend that while you're planning your trip to Disneyland Paris, that you download the Disneyland Paris app, which has got maps on there, it has wait times on there. It's literally, I think they're improving it all the time.
They definitely improved it, because it used to be a little bit hit and miss. There didn't used to be that much information on there, but definitely it's like almost as usable, pretty much as usable as the Florida one now, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say so. It worked really well for us to check things like times, wait times, what time certain restaurants were open, that sort of stuff. So it was really, really good. And also, if it is your first visit and you don't know your way around yet, you can, of course, get a paper map, which is absolutely fine. But if you want it there with you on your phone all the time, and also it uses some sort of GPS, so it will show you exactly where you are and how you need to get to the next wherever you're going.
It is really, really handy. A lot of that information didn't used to be available on that app, so it is definitely worth downloading now, isn't it?
Definitely.
Another app, it's really useful if you want to do pretty much, I mean, most of the meet and greets in Studios Park. You need to book a slot on the Linebity app or the Linebity app. Nobody knows how to pronounce it. If you have concrete proof of how to pronounce it, please do put it in the comments, make yourself a little video, send it to us, like, do something, because we have no clue. It's like basically like a little blue square with a little sort of, I guess it's like an L in there. You'll find it anyway. And it's basically an app that's used, it's a third-party app, it's not a Disney app, and it's basically used for loads of things where you need sort of a virtual queue. And basically what you have to do is you have to register your location and set it for Studios Park. And then what happens is that sort of the meet and greets all become live and ready to book at 9:45. If you are any later than 9:45 on a busy day, it's likely you are not going to get a meet and greet spot. Like we had that before. Last year we had sort of like 5 phones on the go. We still couldn't get Incredibles meet and greets because literally the minute we pressed on it, it was crashing or all the slots had gone. So basically, to book your slot, you have to be super quick. You have to hope that the app doesn't crash. Usually you have to be in Studios Park, but if you've seen our vlog, you'll know that we managed to book a meet and greet with Mickey Mouse from inside the Princess Pavilion. So don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to risk it or complete surprise. But do check which meet and greets are bookable through the app, because they're not all through there. So we had a meet and greet with Goofy, which isn't on there. It tends to be for the Woody or Buzz meet and greet, and for the Mickey and Friends meet and greet, and some of the sort of speciality characters as well. Like we said, last year it was The Incredibles was on there, and to meet Captain America. This year some of the superheroes, because we went when it was the season of the superheroes, some of them were bookable but some of them weren't, so definitely check which ones are bookable and which ones you can just line up for.
It was nice to see as well that was different from last year. Last year nearly every meet and greet in at the Studios Park was only available on the Liberty app. There wasn't really anything, maybe one or two that weren't, whereas this time there were a few more, especially the superheroes. So I was like quite pleased to see that, you know, if you do miss out on the app, you're going to be okay to meet a few characters.
Like we witnessed quite a few people just walking up to the cast member and saying, oh, can we line up? And they were like, no, if you haven't got this your name on this virtual queue, then you just can't meet them. And I think that's quite disappointing if you've got small children who've seen Mickey Mouse right there and they want to go and sort of meet and greet with Mickey, and to then turn around and tell them, well, you can't because we've not got a space in the virtual queue. It's one of those things where I think if they get the system going really well, then it will work. But and it has improved since last year. So if you do want to do any meet and greets in Studios Park, download the app. Before you arrive, make sure it's set to Studios Park, and we've got our fingers crossed for you getting a spot. So as with any Disney holiday, we recommend book your dining. I bet you're probably gonna hear that a million times. Like, book your restaurant, book your dining, plan everything. You really do need to book your dining for Disneyland Paris. I don't think we've ever been. I mean, we do tend to go when it's busy. We go at more popular times. We go in school holidays, and we have never seen it where you can just walk up and get a seat in the restaurant.
I mean, we're talking about table service restaurants here, so Chez Remy you'll definitely need a reservation for, and if you want to sit down and have a table service meal, then you are going to need to book. Quick service works in a kind of different way. She kind of just go up to the counter and, you know, works in that usual way. But if you do want to sit down and have, you know, a table service meal, you will need to definitely book. If you've been to Walt Disney World, you know how invaluable fast passes are. I wish they worked in the same way at Disneyland Paris. Unfortunately, it's still on the old system, which is where you go up to a machine, you scan your park ticket, and it will print you off a time to return. So if you watched our vlogs, I showed you when we rode Big Thunder Mountain, was getting our fast passes and how that works if you're not quite sure.
And I'll try and link that below, which video it was, and all the videos that we've been talking about. I'll try and link them below so they're easy for you guys to find them as well.
Now, fast pass machines open when the park opens, so not available in extra magic time, but as soon as the park opens, maybe even just before that point, you'll see people queuing at the machines. And the time kind of just creeps up. It allocates a certain amount of tickets, and then the time will start creeping up and up and up. It will show you what time you're kind of signing up for before you get to the machine, so just check that it's a time that you can do. It might be really close to you getting the ticket, but it might be hours in advance. So you might need to go away, ride some other rides, do other things, and then it might be your time and your window to ride that particular ride. And we have been there before where all of the tickets for the whole day have been gone by before lunchtime. So if you really want a fast pass for a certain ride, it might be worth kind of getting them early, I would say. I think at the moment fast passes are available, it's for the main rides that you would need a fast pass for, so Big Thunder Mountain, Hyperspace Mountain, Buzz Lightyear, Peter Pan's Flight, Rock and Roller Coaster, and Hollywood Tower of Terror as well. So, you know, there's some long waits if you don't fast pass, so definitely worth getting, but you do need to plan kind of into your time when you're going to go for the fast pass, and also what time you can accept when you get to the machine.
Yeah,
because you don't want it to clash. Like, we saw a lot of it kind of hovered around about parade time.
Yeah.
Like, I think everyone was like, oh, I don't really want that one because I'm going to go and see the parade. So sort of that time slot tends to go a lot slower than the whole rest of the time. It's usually that kind of 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock window where people are like, I'm going to watch the parade, I don't need one. And then obviously because the machine's not printing out the tickets, the time will hold until enough tickets have been printed out. So hopefully people have got the plans and can ride it in now. We actually managed to watch the parade and do the Fast Pass and Big Thunder
right
Mountain.
after.
Yeah.
But yeah, really useful.
Yeah,
useful
you just need to plan it really, I think.
Okay, so let's talk about some tips for watching the amazing shows that are at Disneyland Paris. As you know, especially if you go at crowded times, school holidays, things like that, a lot of these shows are very popular, and you are going to get a lot of people wanting to see them. We've never been to a show that hasn't sort of had almost every seat taken. They're so popular. There's only limited times of showings as well, so you do have to be there early, making sure you're queuing before the start time, to make sure you're actually going to get a seat. Now, one kind of little hack that we've got for getting a good seat for the shows is by using the MasterCard priority service. So basically what that means, I'm not sure if you're aware, but Disneyland have sort of like a deal with MasterCard. So MasterCard is like the preferred card for Disneyland, and as sort of in return, they have this service where if you've got a MasterCard, you can book some VIP seats to the shows. You don't have to pay for them, you don't have to use your MasterCard to buy anything. The tickets are absolutely included in your park ticket, but what that means is you would just go to guest services, you would show them your MasterCard, and then they ask you how many tickets you want. You can't go to all of the showings, like they will tell you which showings you're allowed to get them for. Obviously if you don't go sort of before rope drop, you're risking it then to how many tickets, because I think they have a very limited number of tickets, so they might not have any left for the show you want to go to see, or they might have never had them for the one you want to see. So you do have to be a little bit flexible with what time you want to go, but we basically got tickets every time we wanted to go and see something this time. We needed 4 tickets. But what we did, we just went straight over to guest services, no line whatsoever, and she printed them out then and there for us to use. So it is a really, really handy service. Yeah. Then all you do is you go and you join the queue like everybody else. But once you're inside, you go to see a cast member, hand over the tickets, and they will show you where the allocated seating is. And it is pretty much right near the front, isn't it? Like, the seats are amazing. We did have one problem when, on the last trip, where we went inside, we found a cast member, we showed our tickets, and they couldn't find seats for us. Like, there was no seats. We basically had to split sort of our party up in order to sit in the VIP seats. I don't know if they just weren't like checking and people had snuck into those seats while they weren't looking, but yeah, really, like, there should be the seats there ready for you to sit straight in. But if you can get them, the view is amazing. Yeah, it really is.
Like, we watched Mickey and the Magician sort of really close to the front, and it just saves that little bit of anxiety as well, sort of like when you're going in, sort of where are we going to get seats? Are we going to get seats together? Are we going to have to split our party up? So if you have got a MasterCard and you have got time before rope drop, do go to guest services and try and get those MasterCard tickets.
You can actually use those tickets for Mickey and the Magician, the stunt show as well, and because it was Season of the Superheroes, it was the Marvel show as well. So yeah, definitely worth it, because they are amazing shows, and to get those close-up seats as well, yeah, definitely amazing, definitely a perk.
Now, when you're choosing a spot to watch the parade, kind of, if you've been to Walt Disney World and you haven't been to Disneyland Paris, it's kind of like Magic Kingdom on the busiest days. So it's always really, really busy. you know, and it will affect where you want to watch it from, how far in advance you want to try and get your spot. So just bear that in mind. You know, you kind of, there aren't those, there are a few, in Magic Kingdom there are a few secret spots you can kind of turn up at the last minute and get a really good view, and in Disneyland Paris I do think that's fewer and far between, just because of how busy it is. And if you have seen our vlog from this time, you'll know that we chose not to watch it from Main Street. We actually watched it just from around the corner. We could still see the castle, but it was kind of at the start of the parade route, and we had a really good view. So if you've not seen it, we will link it below so you can have a look at what our view was like. But we did have to get there even still. We kind of, you know, over maybe an hour in advance before. And there weren't that many people around on the sort of hour mark, but like 10 minutes later everyone kind of appeared from nowhere. People kept appearing as time went on, and it was really difficult to sort of hold our ground and stop anybody pushing in, because I think I've heard it happens in other parks as well, but some people turn up late and then they just try and push their way through and sort of stand in front of you or try and get a spot at the front even though they haven't turned up early. So what we would say is definitely get there early, get your spot, and hold your ground. Like, don't let anyone push in, because they definitely will try. I think it was worse when we watched it from Main Street. There was a lot, kind of like, you feel like you've got a good spot and you feel like you've got quite a bit of space, and the minute that parade starts to come and that music goes on, you know, you will start to feel a little bit pushed and shoved. Unfortunately, that's just how it is at Disneyland Paris. And you kind of have to be aware of it so you can prepare for it, but you know, try not to let it dampen the mood either, because the parade is amazing. And if you are willing to wait for a good spot and you're willing to hold your ground, then you will enjoy it to the max anyway. So it is just a case of kind of be prepared, get there nice and early, and have a look, maybe check out the route first and decide where you want to be. But yeah, I preferred the spot this time. I feel like there wasn't the pushing and shoving. There are a few cheeky people, but it wasn't too bad. But on Main Street, I think it was no personal worse. I think it's the same for Illuminations as well. So if you want to go to the nighttime spectacular, you do need to get there sort of in advance, hold your ground, don't let anyone try and push in front of you. We find that anywhere where there's a railing so that nobody can come and stand in front of you is pretty good. We have had it before where we've got there in advance and we've had the railing kind of behind us, and then people literally like turned up as the music started playing and they put their child on their shoulders and they literally blocked our entire view. Like, they were less than a metre in front of us. So if you've got a railing in front of you, guests aren't allowed to go into sort of the railed off areas, and cast members this time particularly were really good at making sure they didn't. So yeah, again, scope out a good spot, get there early, and enjoy, because the shows are absolutely incredible. Now, you probably know that we do like to meet lots of characters when we go to Disney, and there's slight differences between the different parks, I would say. And at Disneyland Paris, the tip that I would give about meeting the characters is, for one, get that Line Petit app, so that you can meet and greet in Studios Park, but also if you can scope out their spots and have a look at their signs, it will tell you the timings, because the timings can be a little bit off. There are often breaks in between the times. The characters don't meet and greet all day and night, so it is mostly during the day. You won't see many just before the parade and then after the parade, so you really need to be thinking about doing your meet and greets before, I would say, 4 o'clock. So definitely go up to their spot and just check the times, because they can differ from the app too. So, but generally the time on the sign is the time that they're going to meet. And sometimes you can get there, I think if you can get there before the characters arrive and start getting in that line before everyone else realizes what the line is for, then you will get like a lot of a quicker queue going. Basically, they tend to have like breaks in between where they're gone for a while, but that queue kind of doesn't slow down, you know. So if you can get there before their start time and start getting that line before they've actually arrived, then you will have a much shorter wait. There are some meet and greets which aren't on any
any of the maps or the apps, or there's basically, they're just pop-ups, so you don't know they're going to be there. All you can do is rely on hopefully just stumbling across them, or what we found really useful is making sure we follow ED92 on Facebook. Those guys are the experts when it comes to Disneyland Paris.
Yeah.
And so if you make sure you're sort of checking Facebook around about sort of, I would say around lunchtime. They usually are really quick at posting sort of who's around and where they are, and you can get to know about them that way. So if you're in a different area of the park and you see that Belle all of a sudden has appeared, or Rapunzel, then you know you can sort of like dash straight over there. We didn't do so many pop-up meet and greets this time, did we? Just because it tends to be in that sort of time of day where we leave the park just to have a little chill out back at the hotel, because it seemed to be that sort of like that lunchtime kind of sort of time of day. But it's really worth it, generally around Fantasyland. Sometimes as well sort of around what they call the Old Mill area, and sort of roundabout by Casey Junior, roundabout there. You might find some pop-up meet and greets and find people you're not expecting. Also, we didn't actually do this on our last trip, but we have heard about it a lot from all the forums that we're in on Facebook, is the secret spots. So if you have been doing your Disneyland Paris research, I'm sure you already know where the secret spot is. But basically around sort of like the corner between the castle and the Princess Dining restaurant, there is an area where the characters come out for the stage that is next to the castle. Now for our last trip there was nothing happening on that stage, just because I think we were kind of in between times. I've heard from the previous season, which was the Princess and Pirate season, that's where a lot of the characters came out for the little interim parades and shows and things. So if you can manage to try and find your way around there, you might see characters coming out for those shows. If there's nothing happening, like when we were there, then sometimes the characters do come out from the Princess Dining, so you might get some princesses just popping out to the secret spot in between sort of sittings and things for the Princess Dining as well. So we thought, oh, there's nothing on the stage, we're not going to see anyone, so there's no point in going. But actually we found out like later that quite a few people had still seen some princesses around there. So definitely worth finding out where that secret spot is, and try and find a good time to go, generally before, if there is a stage show on, or I think just get lucky when the Princess Dining's happening. But if you're a big princess fan, then make sure you get to the secret spot. So we hope that you found some of our tips useful. Maybe they won't come in handy until you get to Disneyland Paris, or maybe we've helped you sort of pinpoint a few areas to do a little bit more research on when you're doing your planning. We would definitely say have a plan. Use the apps that are available, use all the information you can to make your trip worthwhile, because generally with Disneyland Paris people go for like shorter trips, and if you go off peak then there might be shorter opening hours and things, so you definitely do want to get the most out of your holiday to Disneyland Paris. So use everything you can, get all the information you can, and generally just have an amazing time. Don't be afraid to park hop as well. That's one thing we definitely should say. We spent a lot of time in Disneyland Park, just because obviously with the Studios Park undergoing a lot of renovations and they're expanding and everything, it's not as big, there's not as many things going on, so we spent the majority of our time in Disneyland Park. But there are still some amazing things to do in Studios, but don't feel like I'm in Studios Park, I have to stay here all day. Sort of, you know, if you've got the hopper ticket, feel free to hop between, because it's literally a 5-minute walk in between. So yeah, don't sort of feel like, oh, I have to kind of stick here because I'm in here. Like, try and make the most of your time as best that you can, really. If you haven't seen our Disneyland Paris vlogs yet, please do head over to our channel and check them out. We are going to try and post as many links below as we can for all the things that we've been talking about in this video. So yeah, feel free to go and check them out, and as always, leave any comments and anything that you want to leave, and also check out our Instagram as well. Yeah, because like I said, we are going to be posting more photographs from our last trip, and hopefully on our next trip we'll be doing lots of stories, and you can get literally up-to-date info and
find out everything that's happening with us.
Yeah, so yeah, Instagram and Facebook, and yeah, make sure you're subscribed and you hit that notification bell so you'll know when we next put a video up. Thank you so much for watching.
Have a magical day.